Good morning, navigators. Today is Tuesday, March 24th, and we're going to finish the research paper today. Today will include finishing up that works cited page and putting the final polish on your paper. You may recall working on this page last week in class. You were using it as you were starting to find your sources for your source pages, and we were working on getting things cited. Okay, and so if you take a look, this is just the example. You have it in Google Classroom as well, so you can look back at this anytime. But the general in-text citation rules here are for your body paragraph, but this is your works cited. Now, as you can see, when you use websites for researching information on the internet, you must provide information about the sites you use. At the end of your essay, you will have a page called a works cited page. It contains the information for these websites. So this is an example, but you will have a whole page after your research paper that includes your list of sources. So this is just a sample. We went through this and we talked about things like the access date, how to find the information, what to do if, let's say, your article doesn't have an author, and things like that. So here's the back page of that same worksheet that we were working on. Gives you the format for citing your internet articles. As you can see, you begin with that author's name. Recall that it's last name, comma, then the first name, the title of your article, the title of the website, the publisher, the date of creation of that particular article, the URL, which is the link, and then date of access. So if you look down at the example right here, they have the author listed as Kenneth Jackson. They have the title of the article came from Newsella, where it came from, and then right here, notice how we said to write the date. It's always a little different. It's the day, the month abbreviated, with the exception of May, and then the year. And everything in this, if you'll notice, is separated by what? Periods. Okay, so you separate everything with a period. The last thing here is the access date, and what that means is the day that you actually looked at that source. And if you remember, I told you all websites are indexed, and so information changes all the time. We're learning that lesson right now. And so because information changes all the time, there are often updates to information, even historical articles, then you will have to make sure that you record the day that you checked it so it is, more accurate on exactly what information you had or were using at that time. If you are doing something other than an internet article, then you're very likely going to need to go to Purdue Owl. And if you take a look, oops, go back there. Everything's running slow these days. All right, there we go. There, slowly but surely. Even Purdue's running a little behind. All right, so take a look at this website. We are going to look for here on the left where it says research and citation, the second one down. When you click that, it lists all different styles for you. Well, we are specifically focusing on the MLA style. So click that. Once you have that drop down, what you're looking for is the third one down, the MLA style and formatting guide. Okay, it will give you all sorts of things, the basics and so forth. So anytime you are doing something other than what I've already showed you, the internet article, you'll come here, you can cite just about anything. We looked through it last week in class. They even had, if you're citing something from Netflix or Hulu, if you're citing a tweet from Twitter, you name it, it's on here. But let's say you're citing a book. So you're going to come over here where it says MLA Works Cited Page Books. Click on that. Once that comes up, it will give you the basic citation for a book. Okay, so scroll down right here and you'll see basic book format, book with one author, more than one author, two or more books by the same author, a book by a corporate author. The list goes on and on. So we're going to look at just this basic book format for now. Okay, so right here, we're going to talk about what they want. It's very similar to what you would have, worried about if you were doing an internet article as well. It's last name first, first name last for authors. Then it's going to be the title of the book, which, as you notice right here, is in italics because it's long form. Everything long form needs to be in italics. Then they're going to ask for the city of publication, the publisher, and the publication date. All this information can be found on the title page and or copyright page of a book. Open up the cover, should be see that title page, the next first page or two, and that information is right there. So it's very easy to find. Books are probably about the easiest thing to cite. So looking at the research paper now, it's going to look something like this. Now, the in-text citations have been highlighted just to kind of show you how it's going to look in your paper. I was pleasantly surprised at how well many of you did this whenever I was looking over your papers. A lot of times it might have just been a little bit of tweaking, moving that period to the end of the citation, but otherwise, you guys, I tell you, hats off to you, did a great job. And so this is what it's going to look like. You have your header, of course. Don't forget your title. You have your introduction, your body paragraphs, and your conclusion there. When you look at your paper, make sure you have all the things in place we've talked about. This is your chance to do the final revision, and we're going to walk you through a checklist of all the things that you'll need to make sure you have in place. So this then is your works cited page. Let's say you finish typing up your research paper, you hit the enter button, go down and start a new page at the end of your document, and you're going to make sure you title it Works Cited. W is capitalized, C is capitalized, and it is centered. It shouldn't be bold, it shouldn't be underlined, excuse my underlining, but it should not have any underlining or any other type of formatting with it. It is meant to be very simple. Okay, same thing. I know some of you were putting like bullet points and different things here for your sources. We don't do that. I know that sounds really picky, but we're following an exact format for a particular style. So you'll notice that you don't have bullets. You only have just the double space here between. You don't indent on these. We'll just go ahead and keep these all left justified. But you have all of your sources here. You have the date that you access them. Okay, this person was going through, this was last year, but they were accessing all of these articles within a 2-day time frame. They have all their links here. Remember, these links, these URLs are important because this way anyone that is going over your research can go back and find the exact information if they want to know more about that topic. And then also it's important to have this most updated information on when the actual item was published. Now, as you can see, they have, let me erase some of this here for you. They have, okay, there we go. They have one author. The rest of their sources don't have authors. So they may have basically a site that has put out the information or a museum or something along those lines. Okay. So this is the only one that has the author's name. So going by the last name, C would be first. Remember, these are in alphabetical order. And then since history.com starts with an H, and then Imperial War Museum is an I, so they've made sure all their sources are in alphabetical order. So whether you're using a site name or whether you're using an actual author's name, doesn't matter. It goes by whatever that first letter is. And you need to make sure that everything is in alphabetical order. And that brings us to our final checklist for making your final revision and editing your research paper. First things first, you want to make sure that your works cited page is formatted properly. That works cited page is in the same doc as your research write-up. So it's just page 2 of that. Make sure that's with it. Number 2, double check the research paper outline to make sure that you have everything in its proper place. So your header should be at the top left, then your title. So maybe you forgot some of those things. Make sure you have a title for your research paper. Make sure you have everything in order, your introduction, your body paragraphs, your conclusion, transitions to start those paragraphs, and so forth. Then your claim statement. You've heard me say this all year. It is always, always the last sentence in your introduction. The exact formatting for that is also found on that research paper outline. This is a very simple one, so please make sure you follow that carefully. Again, is it formatted properly overall? Do you have transition words or topic sentences in your body paragraphs and conclusions? Most of you did, but a few of you may still need to go back and add those. And then honestly, number 6 is really important. You'd be surprised how many times I read through something and I can see very easily where maybe you were working with a sentence and you started to say one thing and then you switched mid sentence and you didn't fix some of that. So I would encourage you to go back, read your paper out loud. That helps. Make sure everything makes sense. Look for where you need to put commas and things like that. So number 7, do you have run-ons and fragments to fix? It's very likely that after you go through and read your paper aloud, you will find some of those things very easily. And then last but not least, the little stuff, the editing. Check for spelling, punctuation, capitalization errors. I noted some of these as I was going through papers really quickly, but I don't catch everything. I just kind of highlight a few things that I'm seeing kind of a common error, so you can fix that, but then it's up to you to go through and do the final edit. Last but not least, please, 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 please make sure you have shared your Google Doc with me. I can't grade what I don't have, so please make sure that is done. And so your overall assignment is this: complete the final revision and edit your research paper. Make sure you've submitted it to me. Like I said, I cannot grade what I don't have. Review, then the next thing is there is a slides presentation on tone in Google Classroom, going over chapter 11 that you were to have read last week. There will be a paper then for you to complete on tone and word choice. Submit that to Google Classroom, and then read chapter 12, The Boy in Striped Pajamas. We are finishing that this week. Tomorrow, I'll have you read chapters 13 through 15. 13 is the chapter that I've been talking to you about. If you've seen the movie, you know what chapter I'm probably referring to, involving Lieutenant Cutler. So I will record myself reading that. If you'd rather hear that, it's up to you. But you'll be reading those chapters tomorrow, and then on Thursday, we will finish the book. On Friday, I'll have a Zoom session so we can talk about the book and if you've seen the movie. So spoiler alert, the ending will be discussed. But that will be on Friday for that Zoom at 9:00 a.m. if you'd like to join us for that. Have a great day, guys.